We closed our last discussion in chapter 8 of Genesis and verse 22. God has given this earth to man in its fullness, told man to subdue it, to rule over it, and to fill it, to draw out of it and extract out of it all of its magnificent resources. You see a great description of that in Job 28, which is a picture of mining in the ancient world as they literally overturned the mountains. You could call that land degradation and deforestation to get the precious metals that were down deep in the bowels of the earth. Job 28. But the earth is designed for man, so that man might know his Creator. In verse 22 of Genesis 8 says, while the earth remains, as long as this earth is here, there will be seed time and harvest, there will be cold and heat, there will be summer and winter, and day and night, and they will not cease. This is the promise of God that the patterns of this earth will not change as long as the earth survives. And who is in charge of its termination? Not us. The earth is the Lord's, Exodus 9:29. He's in charge of it. Some of their affirmations go like this. Human poverty is a consequence of an environmental degradation. That's wrong. Human poverty is not a product of environmental degradation. Human poverty very often is a consequence of a failure to subdue creation. Why are people poor in Africa? Because they don't subdue the creation. They don't get control of the land. They don't get control of the water. They don't get control of the power. They don't get control of the resources that are in the ground. Their poverty is directly related to the fact that there is no subduing that can produce the kind of environment in which you can live a life of safety. It's opposite of what these people say. All of these things, signed by this massive list of evangelicals, fail to understand reality. 52% of evangelical people support strict environmental sanctions. And the truth of the matter is, the only reason the earth isn't absolutely uninhabitable is because men have worked so hard to subdue it. And where it is uninhabitable and people are exposed to natural disasters and famine, it's because they haven't subdued it. They don't need less energy, they need more energy. So while the elitists are telling us to cut back energy because we have to reduce the carbon footprint, who suffers? The poor. What we need to do, and certainly if we name the name of Jesus Christ, is not sign some silly document that wants to cut back on the development of energy. We ought to sign a document that says, let's go everywhere in the world where people are exposed to the elements and exposed to the horrors of a life without energy, without power, without water, without electricity, without shelter, and let's go there in the name of Jesus Christ and develop energy plants and develop industry there so that they don't have to live that way. It's the opposite of truth. If it weren't for human care, the earth would be uninhabitable. You try. Take your little backpack, wander up in the mountains, see how well you do. The most advanced societies in the world subdue the earth. Thank God for those who have even been able to subdue bacteria, viruses. We don't need less development, we need more development. God intended us to use this planet, to fill this planet for the benefit of man. Never was intended to be a permanent planet. It is a disposable planet. Christians ought to know that. Yes, its beauty can be seen. I've been everywhere on this planet, and I'll tell you, it is a stunning and glorious thing to stand and look at a distance at the beauty of this planet, but the closer you get to it, the more deadly it becomes. I've seen the beauty of the great Alps, the Southern Alps and the Northern Alps, but I'll tell you what, I don't want to be up there by myself for a week. I've seen the beauty of the great deserts of the world, but I don't want to be out there alone without water by myself. I want to be somewhere where there's a building, and that building has air conditioning and water. I want to go where people have subdued the creation. I'm not under any foolish assumptions that if we just let it go wild, we'll preserve life. If you let it go, the wilder it is, the more deadly it is.